Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. I'm going to call this last council meeting of 2023 to order. And I'm going to ask everyone to speak into the mic. I hate to talk about that this often, but I've been having some real good comments about everybody being able to hear when they're listening to us on YouTube or whatever. Disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I have one from Councillor Dirksen, and it's 12B 6 FIN 2023-21. It's the operating and capital budget adoption 2024 compensation for the public works control portion only, and Judy's husband is employed part-time with winter control. So we're going to get into this meeting. Reporting out of closed, moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz. The council receives the closed session report regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land, and further that the council approves the confidential direction to staff. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Minutes of the previous meetings. That resolution by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that the minutes of the Town of Minto on November 7th, November 21st, budget meeting, December 5th, all these are 2023, the closed session, the December 5th, 2023 regular council meeting, and the December 6th, 2023 special council meeting be approved. Questions on that? All in favor of that motion? Carried. Thank you. We have a motion by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz, that the Town of Minto Council convenes in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. We have no public meetings this evening. We have no delegations. Well, we're now into question period. Is there anybody in the House that has a question? Roger, would you mind stepping up to the mic, stating your name, please, and turn the mic on?
Roger Natchuk, and I live here in Harrison. And my problem is your increase in water of 20%. I can't understand why you're increasing the water fees for disposing of the water and collecting the water when it's already so high. And also because we're all being taxed to death because of the Liberal government. And you're just putting more tax burden on the people in this town. And I can't see why it's costing more money to do what you're doing. I'd like to see some figures of why you're raising the price by 20%.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'm not sure if we need a response, Roger, or you want us to get back to you?
I would like to respond. I would like a response tonight if possible, yes.
Okay. We okay with that? We asked our treasurer to respond to that, please.
Certainly, Mayor. Yes, so the water rate increase, we have to do a cost recovery for water and preferably wastewater. And we do a financial plan. It's part of our conditions to get what they call a permit to take water, which is basically to operate the water system. And the costs have to be not only your operating costs, but your total life cycle, which means replacing the pipes in the ground, replacing the water tower in that too. So that study was done back in 2021, and the rates were set for a period of 5 years. And this is so the third year of the 5 years. So this is just the annual increase that was decided upon and passed in 2021-22. The thing with water and wastewater, it's very heavy in capital investment, and that's by far the biggest cost. Not to mention our water forum isn't here, but I know in 22, things like chlorine went up like 49%. And it's things that we don't have a substitute for. And then of course you've got you're operating trucks and that, the price of gasoline and all that too. And that wasn't even reflected in 21. No one anticipated those. So these rates are basically what was set based on the projections from 21. And we have our consultant, Watson Economist, and there's public consultation in that then. So yes, it seems like a lot. Again, we've lived here a long time too. We have a lot of infrastructure and not that many people to pay for it. So we have roughly a population of 6,500 to pay for the water because the rural areas don't. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is to try and break even in the long term. So there's been nothing special or out of the ordinary going from 23 to 24. I'd be happy to give you a copy of that.
So, excuse me, Roger, would you step up to the mic, please?
Sure.
There's lots of people around town want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Can we see the figures on that? Because we emailed you
Sure.
guys about it and we never got a response, which we were sadly disappointed.
Oh,
You
Yeah.
guys not responding to an email.
okay, so sorry, didn't see that one, but I'd be happy to send you a copy
I'd
of the
like to
study.
see the
from
figures that
21.
you're quoting for this,
Sure.
for the increase in water. Because I can't see why the wastewater costs more than the other water. Because you pump it out, what, once every 20 years? I think that's what you're saying. And I think Organics Matter, last time they done, I think it was Organics Matter that pumped it out. And I know you guys are always saying about how you want to keep everything local. Why didn't you use Pitkin, which is in Drayton, which is closer than Organic Matter, which is up in Port Elgin? That's another question that should be
All right.
answered too. I mean, you should keep it local. If you want us to buy, you want us, the public, to buy stuff local, to keep the business here local, but you're going outside of our territory, getting someone else in to come and do it.
I'm afraid I can't answer that.
Maybe
The
someone
wastewater
should check
foreman-
it, someone should check into that and see why they're doing that.
So Roger, we have a bidding process
Mm-hmm.
and we normally take the lowest bidder. And I remember that a little bit when we did pump out the lagoon. The lowest bidder disqualified himself. So anyway, CAO, Mark, you want to respond?
Thank you, Mayor Turton. As Treasurer Duff indicated, we can definitely provide a copy of the Watson Water and Wastewater study that was done in 2021 and endorsed by Council.
Okay. So do we have your email? How do you want to,
We should have it because we emailed it to you guys. We got our email.
Okay. We okay? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming tonight. And if you guys want to stay and, oh, you would?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I'd ask you to state your name and speak into the mic,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so here's the issue. Unless you guys are planning on putting up a tent city in Hairston, you're going to have to find other ways because you just can't keep on raising rates like this. So many people are struggling and barely able to make their ends meet, and that means people are going to be losing their homes. A lot of people are not getting raises, and raises don't solve the solution anyways, because all that happens is it raises the cost of living. Every time when everybody else gets their money put back up so that we are at the cost of living, it just increases the cost of everything else. People can't do it anymore. They can't. Everybody I'm talking to is very, very concerned about these costs. It's ridiculous. Water is not something that people can go without. It is a necessity, and we have to use it. The other thing is the wastewater that we are charged on is bogus figures, because we don't dispose of every drop of water that we are charged for. And we are charged for our disposal of that wastewater. In the summertime, it goes for gardens. In the wintertime, everybody's not home when they urinate after they have drank the water. So you cannot go by what we are bringing into our homes as to what's being put out. It doesn't equal. And it's not like we get a break in the summer. And you better start figuring something out or find a spot for tents, because that's what's going on all over Canada. People are living in ice tents And unless you want this to turn into a tent city, you better find another way of saving money, because we just can't do it anymore.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marty.
Sorry, I didn't get her name.
So, sorry, would you say your name again?
My name's Lonnie Natchuk.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Laura Park, and I am retired, and I only have my Canada pension and my old age pension coming in. And I have a home on 12 Union Street in Harrison, and I'm having a hard time. And I have family that live in this town, and they are having a hard time making ends meet. And we need to come to a solution to help us. I mean, you guys are bringing in a good paycheck, but a lot of us are not, okay? And I would like to see things come down instead of going up. Food is going up. There's a scarcity of food, and it's going to get worse. And we got to do something, and we got to start now. Okay? Thank you for your time. Bye.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, thanks to all three of you. So we're going to move along to correspondence. For correspondence, we have a recommendation by Councillor Potnovich, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the council receives the correspondence as information. Anything here that Terry, can you speak on C and D, please?
Yep, absolutely. So item number C is the county's planning staff's progress report number 10. Basically what that report is to summarize what county staff is working on at the moment while we're waiting for a decision on Bill 119. So Bill 119 is the bill that the province amended to add those lands in Clifford that they were proposing to reverse. So council did put in comments to the province to leave those Clifford lands in. And we haven't heard a decision one way or the other on that. So we're kind of in hiatus, and so is the planning staff. So what they're working on currently is OPA 123. And I know it's lots of numbers and acronyms, but Official Plan Amendment 123 is the growth forecast within the entire county that was identified through the MCR process. So it has been with the province for quite a while now. Since it was submitted to the province for approval, that's when the province amended the urban boundary lands of Clifford. So what they're working on is not really focusing on the Clifford lands at the moment, just because it's the unknown until there's a decision made. But they're looking at other growth centers in the county that have been identified to grow and work on where those areas will grow. So they understand it's going to have to be amended. So essentially kind of in the background while 119 is doing its magic, they're working on that to be prepared to resubmit it with its amendments to the province for approval. So it's just kind of a status update. Unfortunately, the county planning staff do not have an idea of when or what direction the province is going to go with our request to leave those lands in. So we're kind of in just a holding pattern now until that decision is made.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else? Councillor Gunson.
Thanks, Mayor Turton. F. City of Greater Sudbury Amendment to the Occupational Health and Safety Act to clarify the definition of an employer. So reading that letter, it looks like they hired a contractor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hired a contractor ended up was operating a grader and struck a pedestrian and killed him. And then they came after the municipality for charges or whatever, right? So is this something that we should be looking into? Like, are we worried about our contractors getting Chris or Mark, who's
Quinn.
Quinn?
Through
Oh,
you,
okay.
through you,
So-
Mayor Turton, to Councillor Gunson. Definitely, this is something that has been brought to our attention and is of concern based on the ruling of the courts. And I would recommend that the town of Minto support the city of Greater Sudbury's motion.
Satisfied with you, Quinn? Or do you have something to add?
No, that works for me.
Okay. So you're making the motion, Councillor Gunson?
Yes, please.
Go ahead,
I
Councillor Ide.
would second that.
Okay,
I
thank
have
you.
Something to say if I could.
Yes, go ahead.
This is probably no different than anything we've been dealing with in our community over the years, is joint and several. They go after deep pockets. And whenever there's an accident, the town gets it. I don't know whether that applies to this. I would think it would. Our insurance is what they're after, probably. I don't know. We fought for that for years to try and get that changed. So they wouldn't just go after somebody that, instead of having a person that was at fault, to go after the community.
Through you, Mayor Turton, to Councillor Elliott. Definitely when there's an accident, people normally look to, as you said, the people with the deepest pockets, and the town of Minto is normally on that list.
Okay, thank you. Annaline, how do we proceed?
So the motion has been made that the council of the town of Minto support the Greater Sudbury amendments to the Occupational Health and Safety Act to clarify the definition of employer. We have it moved by Councillor Gunson and second by Councillor Elliott. So if we just do a vote on that, and then we'll do a vote on the second rest.
All in favor of that motion? That's carried, thank you. And then we'll move along to the second recommendation, which is everything else there except for F. All in favor of that motion? That's carried, thank you. Okay, so committee minutes for approval. I'll pass the chair to Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor Turton, and I'll pass the information over to Matt Lubers, if you could.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. The committee met late last month at the Clifford Arena. Grace reported that we have lots of upcoming bookings at the Norgan in the month of December, including a lot of school groups, and that we were going to close out November with a sold-out live show on the 30th featuring the Ballas. That show has since happened, obviously, and was well received, and the group was great to work with. At the facilities, it's been a steady start to the ice season in Harriston and Palmerston. It was great to host the Montreal Canadiens alumni game event on November 18th with over 600 in attendance. We also hosted the Norwell Varsity girls and boys tournaments on the 28th and 30th with over 400 in attendance for the student buyout game at the boys tournament. It was the first time in I think about 5 years that the buyout game happened, so it was great to see the arena was quite busy that day. We continue to run pickleball on the arena floor in Clifford, as well as shuffleboard in the arena lobby. This winter, or this upcoming holiday, we're planning to run a 3-day day camp program the first week of January from the 3rd to the 5th for those who need childcare before our after-school programs resume. And lastly, December is a busy month for the department, and we look forward to facilitating ice and hall rentals, as well as running programming, including a number of free skating and free shinny opportunities.
Thank you, Matt. I'll read the motion, then we'll ask for questions. Moved by Councillor Dirksen and seconded by Councillor Zimmerman, that council receives the Community Services Advisory Committee meeting minutes of November 27th, 2023 as information and approves any recommendations therein. Any comments or questions? Let me say the Ballas that were at the Norgan Theater, that was a sellout. It was quite an amazing show. And that's our annually the Norgan put on a Christmas special. And they were the people this time, and they were a fabulous group. So if anybody gets the opportunity to see them, go see them. It was really good. Okay, all in favor? Those opposed? All right.
Okay, thank you. We'll move along to the staff reports, and This is a structural grant for Martin and Mary Winja, and I'll ask Treasurer Duff to enlighten us on this.
Great, thank you, Mayor Turton. So in Belinda's absence, I'll review this one. It's a relatively small grant. So this is on the main street in Alora Street in Harrison, just down from the lights. And Mr. and Mrs. Winja own 8 and 10 Alora Street South. And they propose replacing the 4 windows on the upper floor and replacing them with more energy efficient models and that. And it's been reviewed by CBO Kuipers and voted on by the Economic Development Committee. And it fits in very well with the objectives of this program. So,
Okay, we have a motion by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of the Town of Minto receives report ECDEV 2023-025, which is a structural grant number H12, Martin and Mary Winja, number 8 and number 10, Elora Street South, Hairston, and approves a structure grant number H12 for 8 and 10 Elora Street, Hairston, for $686. Questions for our treasurer? Seeing none, I'm calling the question. All in favor of that motion? Carried. Thank you very much, and I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Gunson.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. We've got one report tonight regarding a drainage superintendent appointment. And Mike McIsaac's going to do the report.
Thank you, Chair Gunson. Yeah, this is just a quick report regarding the drainage superintendent appointment. Since 2011, Dietrich Engineering Limited have provided this service for us. And then recently, since Ryan's come on board the last year and a half, he's had the ability to take the courses and training associated with this position. And also having this in-house, once again, the position, certain details or certain duties associated with this position are 50% grantable through OMAFRA. So we have the opportunity of recouping some of the expenses back, having it back in-house again. Is there any questions?
I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Podnowitz, second by Councillor Zimmerman. Council of the Town of Minto receives report PW 2023-024 regarding the appointment of Ryan Binkley as the Town of Minto's drainage superintendent and considers passage of the related appointment bylaw in open session. Any questions? Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Chair Gunson. Through you to Mike. So this had never occurred to me before, but so whenever Dietrichs were doing our drainage superintendent work, did we pay 50% a rate or did we pay a full rate?
No, it's 50%
So-
associated with
okay.
these duties, yes.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yes.
not just if we have it in-house?
No.
Okay, all right, I also want to say congratulations to Ryan for taking these courses, good for you. Okay, so then what percentage of Ryan's time is expected to be drainage superintendent? Or is that something you have to track and then you apply for it back to OMAFRA?
Yeah, so we do apply for the grant at the beginning of the season with our best guesstimate associated with it. So we can't apply for more at the end of the year than what we previously applied for. So we do want to elevate that slightly.
Yeah.
We won't get the whole 50% of that. It'll be based on what is actual at the end of the season.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question similar to that, Mike. So when we were hiring Dietrich, the other 50% that OMAFRA paid them, so the other 50% came from the farmers.
Out of the general taxes.
Yeah. Gotcha. If you said that before, I apologize for asking again. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one quick one. Are we going to save money by doing this?
Possibly. The other part of this too is having it in-house, this service to the local agricultural community, having Ryan here instead of having somebody come in from an hour away or It's just more accessible.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
See no other questions, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Congratulations, Ryan. I'm going to pass the chair back to the mayor.
Thank you very much, and I'll offer my congratulations as well, Ryan. Welcome aboard. Sometimes we have some farmers that are difficult. You'll be the guy that's up front.
Come on.
And we have lots of other farmers that are not difficult. So.
Difficult.
Sorry, Judy. I said sometimes. So we're moving right along here to the Animal Control Services Agreement. I'm going to ask Annaleen McRobb to present the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. This report is just to do in regards to amending the Animal Control Services Agreement that we currently have in place with R&R Pet Paradise. They have been working with us for 6 years at the same price for those whole 6 years. So they have asked for some small raises, minor increases to their agreement. Really, that would be the majority of the change. And this increase in fees is provided for in the 2024 budget.
Thank you. So we have a recommendation by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of Town of Minto receives report CL 2023 regarding amendment to the Animal Control Services Agreement and considers passing a bylaw in open session. Questions for Annaleen? Go ahead, Councillor.
I'm just reading there, boarding and pickup costs are paid by the owners, and only if the owner is not found, the town then would take responsibility for these costs. How long would we keep our animals that are boarding?
I'm going to defer that to Terry Kuipers.
Yep. No, I can take that, Councillor Elliott. Our bylaw contains provisions that we must hold the dog for a minimum of 3 days. After that, we send it up to a facility up in Owen Sound who adopts the dogs out. We have had instances where they are full and we have to hold on to the dog longer. It sucks. We are paying for the extra daily amounts. But overall, our current dog licensing fees, so the dog tags, cover all of the expenses that owners picking up their dogs don't incur.
So do we advertise, I guess, that we have a dog? So do we put that on Facebook or somewhere?
So that's part of the services that Rick provides. He posts it on Facebook. I believe he posts it on Instagram. He tries his best to get the word out. He does let staff know. So for call-ins and stuff like that, if people haven't seen it online, the front staff are aware that he's got a dog and would refer them to Rick.
So if the owner got it after 3 days, would they be responsible after that fact? Would they have to pay the costs, the over costs?
So that actually has been someone who has abused the system before. They found out the facility that they sent the dogs to and they let us hold it until the point where he shipped it up to Owen Sound, and then they went to Owen Sound and adopted it back for free. Which is very smart, never thought about that.
Yeah.
But in the case we don't have control over the dog, then it would be up to them to deal with Owen Sound to get it back, or they lose possession of the dog as soon as it's after the 3 days.
I appreciate that you take care of the animals humanely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Deputy Mayor Anderson, go ahead.
Hi there. I may as well direct it to Terry because probably.
Yes, go ahead.
We see lots and lots of articles on Facebook, Instagram about dogs that have been located, found, puppies being dropped or abandoned. There seems to be an increase in reports. I don't know if there's actually an increase in the number of pups, but presumably the bottom sort of fell out of the pet market after COVID. How many dogs are you finding that we're having to find and keep and nobody shows up for?
So actually, and I get everyone was purchasing animals during COVID. We did not see any sort of increase after everyone went back to work. We have actually seen since we used to do the dog tags in-house. We now hired out to a company called DocuPet. And they provide services that the dog tag has a registration number that your dog goes missing. You can go on their website and it notifies people within a specific area around you. So it bypasses even the dog catcher. So over the last few years, we've seen the drop-off calls like probably 50% of what they used to be. Or sorry, pickup calls less than 50% of what they used to be.
Pickup call, like.
As in our dog catcher going out to,
Go get
yeah.
dogs. Because you read about these dogs that are abandoned, and we've talked about puppy mills before, and I don't know if we have a sense that there's a lot of them still out there, or.
Few of our kennels have
Topic for
shut
a
down.
while.
Yep, it absolutely was. We have had a few of our dog kennels shut down, some of our breeding kennels. With the price of dogs dropping drastically against post-COVID, we haven't seen an uptake on that again. It was kind of a, nice cash cow for a little bit, but we haven't seen any issues arising from it whatsoever.
Okay, so things are we're good with this service, we're happy with what we're.
Absolutely, yep.
All right, as long as we know the animals are being taken care of.
Councillor Pottenvitz.
This question for Terry as well. I looked into the changes they're proposing for puppy mills.
I have heard it. I haven't seen the proposed legislation yet.
Okay, I just wondered if you had.
Has it been posted on the ERO? Do you know?
I've seen in the news a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was coming in pretty
Okay.
soon. So.
I haven't seen it yet. Our new bylaw enforcement officer, as well as Rick, are kind of really on top of that stuff. So if there's something that we need to comment or petition or provide feedback to, I'll definitely bring it forward.
Yeah, could you bring it to council? As well?
That's what I was referring to. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much for the input, Terry. We're going to call the question in reference to the this motion. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. I'm going to pass the chair to Councillor Dirksen.
Thank you, Mayor Turton. And this is item Finance 2023-19019, Community Emergency Preparedness Grant Approval Authority. And our Treasurer Gordon Duff is going to bring the report.
Great. Thanks, Chair Dirksen. Excuse me. So this fall, the province happily announced a emergency management grant, and we talked amongst ourselves and worked with Chief Harrell. Excuse me. And our highest priority was to add a backup generator to the Palmerston Community Center. As you know, it's identified as one of our evacuation centers in the event of an emergency. So we thought that fit the bill quite well. We completed the application, which is not all that difficult. However, there's a new wrinkle in this grant. It's called the Approval Authority Framework. And there wasn't a lot of guidance as to what this means. So we did our best interpretation, and it basically there's the primary contract is Chief Harrell, primarily in his role as Community Emergency Management Coordinator. So we think applying for this generator really fits in very well with that. I'm the financial contact, which I usually am for a lot of these grants. So we did a copy of the appointment bylaws from a few years ago. We sent that in, and we also sent a joint letter from Mark, Chris, and I. But it looks like they're actually looking for a bylaw. So hence this report. Basically, it's endorsing that council supports this application, that Chris is well within his authority to apply for it, and I can sign the financial part. So that's why we have a bylaw later in session. So take any questions.
Okay.
It's there.
Thank you, Gordon. Are there any questions for anyone? I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Councillor Zimmerman and seconded by Councillor Gunson that Council of the Town of Minto receives Report Finance 2023-019 regarding an application under the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant with an acronym of CEPG, Approval Authority Framework, and consider the passage of the related bylaw in open session. Anybody think of a question? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries. We'll go on to the next one, which is Finance 2023-20, which is the 2024 rates and fees. And I'll pass it over to Gordon Duff again.
Certainly. Thanks again. So as you know, we try and pass the rates and fees for the upcoming year near the end of the previous year. They're outlined in great detail in Appendix 1 to the report. I think the highlights are on page 69, which kind of gives the various changes by department. There's not a lot of changes other than some inflation ones and some previously agreed to ones, as we mentioned before, for water and sewer. And there's a few mostly decreases for planning deposits in there, but certainly entertain any specific questions or anything on that.
Okay, it's quite a large document.
It's very large.
Just building the first one was the big one, right? And then it became easier after that. Okay, are there any questions? Okay, I'll call, no, I will read the recommendation first. Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Zimmerman. Just washed my tongue, I can't do a thing with it. That Council of the Town of Minto receives report Finance 2023-020 regarding 2024 rates and fees, and that the user fee changes proposed for 2024 in Appendix 1 to this report be approved, and that Council of the Town of Minto considers passage of the related bylaw in open session. Last time for asking if there's any questions. Okay, all in favor? Thank you, that carries. On to the next, Finance 2023-21, the operating and capital budget adoption. Mr. Duff, please.
Great. So again, this seems like a fairly short report, but I think as we all know, there's a lot of work that's gone into this. We had our operating budget meeting on November 7th, and then our capital budget meeting on November 28th. Leading up to that, there were several internal budget meetings, and we reviewed it, and we feel it's a reasonable document in the process. As you know, we wish our capital budget was much higher to try and address some of the infrastructure deficit, but the grants are not too plentiful in this environment. So it's basically spending, I think, within our means. Again, there's no new borrowing added this year, and there are no changes to the amounts that we discussed earlier. We also had the public open house on December the 5th, and again, there's no changes from anything that came up there.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for Treasurer Duff?
Just a
Mayor
comment, I mean, we struggle every year for the deficit, especially, we talked about Canada, Ontario, and, to get the upper tiers, the province to send a little money our way, and it just hasn't happened yet. I mean, we get a little bit, gas tax and the other, but so we work hard to do the things that we need to do.
Sure.
And it's still tough to keep our head above board, but in this particular budget, there's not a lot in it. There's no fluff, and certainly again like to thank the staff for bringing it forward and working with us on it. So I'm in favor of this budget.
Thanks, Mayor Turton. And there was an excellent editorial in the Kitchener Record a couple of days ago from the former mayor of Cambridge, Doug Craig, saying basically that municipalities are handicapped under an antiquated revenue system. And it is time for the upper levels to give us a bit more share of the vast tax revenue for sure.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, I just want to say that we really appreciate the work that the staff go to put our budget together and to bring us something that we can certainly work with. You know, I see a lot of councils that get a budget with something ridiculous like 10% increase from their staff, and then, you know, council has to send it back and all that. And we just bypass all those steps, and you know, for the most part, the staff brings us a reasonable budget in the first place. So we do appreciate that. I will read the recommendation. It's moved by Councillor Podnowitz and seconded by Councillor Elliott. The Council of the Town of Minto receives report Finance 2023-21 regarding the 2024 operating and capital budget adoption, and that the 2024 current budget for the Town of Minto, excluding the compensation portion of Public Works winter control as presented on November 7th, 2023, be approved, and that the capital 2024 capital budget for the Town of Minto as presented on November 28th, 2023 be approved, and that Council of the Town of Minto considers passing the related bylaw in open session. Ooh. All in favor? Okay, thank you. That carries, and I'll pass the chair back to Mayor Turton for a moment.
Okay. So we have a recommendation by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Sorry, are we going to pass the, help me out here.
Yep, so being moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson and seconded by Councillor Gunson, that the 2024 current budget for the compensation portion of Public Works winter control, as presented on November 7th, 2023, be approved, as Councillor Dirksen indicated to receive due to a previous conflict of interest.
Gotcha. Thank you. Everybody understand what we're doing here? I do now. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so I believe that Councillor Dirksen still has the chair.
Sorry to be a pain. So this would be Finance 2023, item 22, section 357 and 358 applications, and I will turn to Treasurer Duff again to
Great.
bring us this report.
Last one for tonight. So these are section 357 and 358 tax adjustments. And you may recall these are generally due to physical changes in the property, sometimes a change in assessment classification. The vast majority on here are the removal of satellite buildings like sheds, or in the case of someone who is a property and they're removing the existing SFD, single family dwelling, and almost all here with the intent of building a new family dwelling. So the total taxes written off here are a little over 15,000 for all levels, and Minto shares 6,088. And this will make sure they're processed before the end of the year.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for Treasurer Duff? Okay, seeing none, I'll read the recommendation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Gunson. The Council of the Town of Minto receives report Finance 2023-22 regarding section 357 and 358 applications, and that these adjustments be approved. All in favor? Thank you. That carries, and I will turn the chair back to Mayor Turton.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dirksen. We're going to move into announcements. And Councillor Dirksen, do you want to start?
I don't believe I have anything specifically. I guess there's a lot of, I noticed that there are a lot of Christmas Eve services at various churches in our community. So if you would like to attend any of those, I'm sure you would be welcome. And I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and all the very best in 2024.
Councillor Zimmerman.
Well, I really have not much to add to that, other than in Matt's report there about all the free shinny and skating at our community centers over the holidays. Come out and enjoy that. And I too, and along with my wife, would wish everyone in Minto a happy New Year and a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Anderson.
I would just like to remind people again about the Christmas dinner and thank all the staff for all their assistance with getting it set up. We know that we ask a lot of them getting prepared for that dinner. But if people know of people speaking to your concerns voice first that are struggling, we're happy to provide a meal. If they don't want to come out to the dinner, we'll deliver it to them. If they need a ride to the dinner, we'll pick them up and give them a ride. So let folks know it's out there. I think it's been well covered in the paper, and Pat Raff just did a lovely article because somebody recognized us. Gene Kramer nominated us for an award. Who knew there was a Wishbone Award? I didn't. Anyway, and wishing on behalf of David and myself a very Merry Christmas and a healthy New Year. Stay healthy, people. Because our healthcare system doesn't need any more sick people. We're working on that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott.
Along with everybody else, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a great year in 24. I think we're gonna have a better year. And this year's been not so bad. So,
Thank you, Councillor Potnowitz.
Yes, just a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to me.
Thank you, Councillor Gunson.
I'll just echo that. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And anyone that needs to travel over the holidays, make sure you travel very safely.
Thank you. So on behalf of council, Jean and Dave, the Wishbone Award, we certainly want to congratulate you guys. I know that there is a lot of people that come and see you on, last year was Boxing Day, but this year, the way the weather looks,
We're hoping.
it's likely going to be Christmas Day. So congratulations on all your work. And I know that you're always looking for people. And your name and number is out there.
Yep.
And if there's people out there that want to help you peel potatoes, carrots, it's happening on the 24th.
Bring a knife and a cutting board.
Yep. At the arena in Hairston, at the community center. And I know that they welcome all the help. Second thing, Fire and Ice is happening July 1st, New Year's Eve.
July 1st.
Sorry, New Year's Eve. I was thinking of something else, pardon me. New Year's Eve down in Palmerston. Lots of exciting things going on. And I know that we're still looking for a couple of council members to help us out. I know that is a festival that's put on by the town and council, and we'd like to get a few more people. Food banks. I know that our food banks have been working hard over the last month, taking in donations, and I know that they're still in need of donations. Over the last week, all three of them have spent a lot of time taking fruit baskets and food and gifts to the needy in our community, and it's always very eventful, and we thank anybody that's involved in that. The Leslies do a big job in Harrison. I don't want to point them out because I know that there's Leslie's in Palmerston and there's all over the place that are helping with this important thing that we do in our community. So, okay. Yes, sir. Last time. Go ahead. And I'm being nice to you tonight, Roger.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
It's Roger Natchuk again. Just a question for the people that plow the roads out here. Just a
And you're standing
suggestion.
right beside him.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mike.
Last heavy snowstorm we had, the plows went out, I don't know what time in the morning they go out, probably early. 7 o'clock they start, I think, I'm not sure. 3. And there's not too much snow on the road, the last one. It was a little bit on there that you could drive through. It snowed heavy out during the day, and by noon or 1 o'clock, it's like 6 or 7 inches of snow on the road. You can't get through. And you guys only set the plows out once a day. When you see just a little snow on the road, why waste our taxpayers' money plowing through it? Why not wait till it gets deeper and plow the road? Because that day, I couldn't go to work because I couldn't get out my road because I have a small car and my bumper's plowing the road for you guys. Why can't you plow it later on in the day?
Unfortunately, we aren't a 24-hour service. We have to respond to our minimum maintenance standards that are set. And if we were a 24-hour service, unfortunately, our budget would be tripled. I hope that answers the question.
All right. Okay, so we're going to move along. I've got a motion, a resolution moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Elliott, that the Committee of the Whole convene into regular council. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Notices of motion. Is there anything under that tonight? Hearing none. We got a resolution by Councillor Potvitz, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor of the motion? It's carried. Thank you. Bylaws. Resolution by Councillor Zimmerman, seconded by Councillor Potnovitz, that the bylaw 2023-071 through 2023-076 be read a first, second, and third time, passed in open council, and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor of that motion? Carried. Thank you. Confirmatory bylaw. Confirmatory resolution. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that bylaw 2023-077 to confirm the actions of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Minto respecting a meeting held December 19th, 2023, be read a first, second, third time, passed in open council, sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? So I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and then we'll have a little sing-song. So I have a resolution moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Elliott, that the Council of the Town of Minto adjourns the meeting to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor of that motion? Thank you. Very, very productive meeting. Thank you very much. Councillor Dirksen, we're going to sing through one verse. Then I want everybody singing. This is a perfect time for to get up to the mic.
All right, we're gonna sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas."
Uh-huh.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's good.
Excellent.
Okay.